So October 21st
What's
marks.
October?
Oh, you forgot.
I did not forget, but
October
to
21st,
think.
2023
Oof.
marks our 5-year wedding anniversary. We have already been together for 10 years, but 5 years officially married on the 21st. I don't know when you guys will either be hearing or seeing this. We're doing our best to get as much content in before we have a baby.
Right.
So,
Been a doozy.
oh my gosh. But in the spirit of anniversary celebration, I guess we kind of wanted to talk about the things that we've learned as we hit. This is like, I guess, like one of the first milestone wedding anniversaries that are hit within. Obviously, I think the first one, but like 5 is like that next milestone anniversary, and it's like crazy to think about the fact that we've been married for 5 years.
I know. I haven't like sat back and thought like, dang, it's been 5 years. It's been 10 for one, but it's been
That's a
5
long time.
married.
Yeah, no, 5 married is wild.
And I guess we made it, first 5.
I mean, first 5, 100 more to go, because we are going to live for a long time.
Yes.
But this episode, we're going to talk about, some of the things that we've learned as we've gone through these 5 years. Some things that
What?
marriage isn't easy.
No, it surely isn't.
Marriage isn't hard. I think it's one of the, it's not hard. It's not easy, but I think it's one of the most rewarding hards that I've experienced. Growing with the person and really developing your person as you're with the person. I had put up a post the other day that was like, I'm growing a whole person. I am raising a whole person. I am growing into a whole person, and then growing with a whole other person who's growing into a whole person. It's just like when you put all those things together and you go from like year 1 of being married, you don't have no kids, we were starting a business really still at that period of time, and like to look at now 5 years in, having so much experiences, like not that we have so much experience, but we have had so many experiences in that time that I'm kind of excited to hear our thoughts around our 5th year married.
Well, let's talk about it.
Let's talk about it. All right.
Wow. What made you because you brought this topic together, so what kind of like sparked your interest into talking about this?
I mean, just what I said, like what would you, I think now, because we have a lot of friends that are getting married. I just went to my college roommate's wedding. We went to in August, and it's like, wow. Like, it's like we're also considered like the veterans in the game, or like, when my friends come to me about relationship advice or marriage advice or pre-marriage advice, and I'm like, yo, why are you coming? And it feels like why are you coming to me? But it's like, well, technically you've been married the longest. Like, I don't think we have that many. We might have like one friend in our age group, or like that was in our wedding type group,
right?
That's been married longer than that, like longer than us, and it's like maybe a year or two. And so it's like, what would you tell your younger self prior to getting married, or what have we learned through 5 years? Our parents have been married for 30 plus years for both of us. And so when you're looking at that, it's like, dang, I am on my way to longevity, And so it's just kind of evaluate. I don't want to use the word evaluating, but it's just kind of like reminiscing, reflecting, and then obviously being able to, think of the things that we can grow on. What do we hope for in the new next 5 years, because in 5 years, we're talking about a decade married.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother ball game. Like, it's like marriage is, I did some research and I looked at like, what is the statistics around being married for 5 years? And it literally said, and it was a kind of older statistic, but it still said that 20% of marriages hit year 5.
20%.
20%.
So we top 20.
He's so competitive. 20% of marriages, hit 5 years. And so I don't take it for granted that we have. It hasn't been easy. But like I said, I think it's important to kind of have those reflective moments when you are one of your friends' go-to person for, which you are too as a man. Like you and your guys, y'all talk all the time in regards to, marriage stuff. I mean, at least that's what your version of what you told me when he doesn't say anything.
Yeah, it's just guy stuff.
Yeah, man stuff. But it's like from a marital perspective now, because it's not just, it's different when they're single versus the ones that are married. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Because, I just think, you get my point. That's why I wanted to talk about it.
I get it.
What interested you, or was it of interest to you to even have a reflective conversation around it when I brought it to the table?
I didn't. When you brought it to the table, it kind of made me think like, okay, it's been 5 years. I didn't know the significance of 5 years. Now that you put that stat out there, it is pretty significant. You know what I'm saying? Like most people don't make it to 5 years, and it's crazy to even think that most marriages don't make it past 5 years, which is really, really wild. But I think a lot of that has to do with our resiliency and our continuous ability to grow and wanting this to grow.
Right.
I think a lot of that has to do with it. And then we also friends, you know what I'm saying? Like
that's true. Y'all be seeing those reels where like they be like, my wife when she leaves the house and like the man is so excited to just do nothing and then she calls from the car to talk the whole way there.
That is literally us.
Because what else I'm gonna do?
That's facts.
I missed you. I walked all the way to the garage and left the house.
Right. And it'd be something quick. I don't even know. But that's literally us.
Mm-hmm.
So I think a lot of it has to do with that. Also maturity. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people do get married prematurely. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things that they have to do growing wise, and then if they don't notice that they have to do some of this growing within the marriage, that's when things kind of dissipate. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, we've grown. I think that's the astonishing part about it is like thinking of who we were 5 years ago. 5 years. I just turned 31. You're about to turn 31.
Ooh, that's crazy. Don't put that one on me.
Your first anniversary of your 30th birthday.
That's crazy. Anyway.
But when we got married, we were like, you were 25, I was 26. And like, it's like just looking at that, like, bro, time has flown by.
That men's episode we did in the first season, some girl told us that like, y'all are an anomaly.
Mm-hmm.
Like the things y'all were saying, although they're true, like y'all are an anomaly as men being married and got married at such a young age. And I hadn't even thought about that. Like I didn't seem like I didn't think I was that young. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like I didn't think I was that young. I thought, we were at the right age. You know what I'm saying?
But you got to think about it. We've been together for 5-6 years at that point. So it's kind of like, what else am I going to do with this girl?
Well, I ain't marry you for that reason, but I see what you mean.
Yeah, I'm saying, so it's like it doesn't feel like I'm an older individual just because I got married at 25 and 26. It's like my parents got married at 24 and 25. You know what I mean? Like, so to me, that was regular age just because that's what I knew. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I thought I'd be married by 24 too.
That's funny.
That didn't work out in my favor. But that was okay. I don't think I was ready for that at that point. Do you feel like you were ready to be married?
I would say yes and no. Yes and no. I think mentally I was ready to take on the challenge of marriage.
Mm-hmm.
As far as being a whole person, individual, I don't think, no, I wasn't ready. As far as that, because you are so young, you haven't grown into, another version of you in a sense that you could introduce yourself into a marriage as, but that's also what marriage is for, is to grow together. You know what I'm saying? So as far as mentally, like, yes, I was ready to take on that. I would say, did I hit every marker I wanted to hit before I got married? No, absolutely not. But
you were definitely an anomaly in that point for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
The men that say I must have all my ducks in a row before I propose.
Right. So, things like that. But I don't regret it.
I hope not.
Obviously. No, I'm saying like, but you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised how many how many people may feel that way.
No, I can imagine. You know what I mean? I think sometimes what you expected to be or who you expected a person to be can change over time because people do. And marriage brings out a mirror of who you are as a person. And I think sometimes we look at marriage around who that other person is versus who I am. And so I'm not only dealing with a second personality, I'm also dealing with who I am as a person and all the issues that I also have as myself. You know what I'm saying? Of like we talked, I feel like we talked about this before, but I think one of our biggest things at the beginning was tone, and you talking about how sharp my tone was in talking to you. And,
we can get there. We can get there.
All right.
There you go.
I already brought it up. I'm trying to figure out why you're bringing it up as well.
I just wanted to stir the pot.
You see, so he's also a pot stirrer. So as you stir the pot, you can't be mad if you get a tone from the pot. But anyway, one of the first things being that, and it's like having to not only be mindful of the thing because I want to be considerate of my partner, but also now having to identify, why is my tone so wild? Like, why does it get so nasty? Like I had about 5 blow-ups today, and I feel like, thank God for grace at this post third trimester, any day now, pregnancy. I feel like I am extended a lot of grace, but I do not be meaning to be sounding how I be sounding. It's like, why are you so angry about me being in the shower? Like, I'm not angry about you being in the shower. I'm angry about the fact that the door was closed and my hands are full. None of this that you actually know because you're also in the shower. It's just, but charge it to my pregnancy, not my heart. Yeah. But having to do your own personal reflection on, why is that my tone, or why is this getting to me? Why am I responding this way, so that I can make the adjustments, not for you, for myself, because it doesn't mean that other people haven't felt that way. It just means you were the one that
said it.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's what makes marriage difficult, is because you have to also answer to who you are, make adjustments, or choose to make adjustments, because you don't have to.
Right.
Now you have to choose what I'm going to do, what I'm not going to do, what I'm going to tolerate, what I'm not going to tolerate. How do we combine these lives, these personalities, and all the stuff like that? And I think sometimes we can focus more on the other person and all their flaws, not realizing that they're really just bringing out more within us.
Is this for me?
It was.
Oh, yeah. I feel that. Why did you pause so hard?
Why did you pause so hard?
No, because I was like, was this for me? I couldn't remember.
As you interrupt me in the middle of it, what am I supposed to say? What am I supposed to do?
I mean, before we got married, we got into premarital counseling. But do you think that's like an important thing to do? Because when we did it, we were gung ho. Like, we wasn't getting married without premarital counseling. Like, that was a must for us. And I think it should be a must for anybody that's in a relationship.
Do you feel like that's a church thing, though? Like, I don't...
No, I didn't see it.
Did I just... Oh. When I say, like, a church thing, like, for me, premarital counseling was really considered because my parents are premarital counselors. So to me, it's always been a part of my life. Like, I've seen them in their sessions. I've seen them do classes and all that kind of stuff like that. I've seen them do 8-week boot camps, retreats, all that stuff like that. So for me, it was second nature. And I'm saying, do you think it's a church thing based off of how you grow up? Like, if you're not in the church, I'm curious to know if that's something that's promoted to you, either from your parents or from your friends, or it's not like that's something that's talked about often. Or it's not like it's something that's like promoted on social media. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, I'm like, would I have known about it if I wasn't exposed to it in that capacity?
Yeah, I didn't think of it as church at all. I wanted therapy for myself.
Still do.
And still do. You know what I'm saying? I wanted therapy, and I saw it as therapy. And a chance to, get some understanding especially before we take, such a huge leap in our relationship. But I definitely just always saw it as like an opportunity to kind of like put things out there on the table and talk about what's really, really real about marriage. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people don't prepare themselves.
I don't think it's just about, I don't think premarital counseling is only about marriage. I think premarital counseling, at least the course that we took, and shout out to Simbis, if you, shameless plug, I'm definitely about to email them before I drop this episode, but shameless plug, if you are looking for a course to do, the one that we did, the one that my parents also utilized, is a course called Saving Your Marriage Before It Starts. The acronym for it is SYMBIS, SYM. BIS, right? And they have a whole website, and you can type in your location and you can find premarital counselors that are in your area. And then, you know, what we did is we did like a Zoom, a FaceTime with them to see if they were a right fit for us before we actually committed to being with them and going through this course with them. And what they do is each party takes a quiz. It's a lot of sections. It talks about finances, family, like your family that you grew up in, expectations, sex, a whole bunch of others. We should do an episode just off of that.
Maybe.
Yeah. That would be a good episode. You need to write that down. But basically it goes through all this stuff, and you have to answer your questions honestly. Hopefully you're not answering them based off of what you want the other person to know. Then so they answer, you answer, and then y'all come together, and the course, whoever your counselors are, it's like you go step by step. Your whole premarital counseling is literally going day by day and step by step through this whole report of how you guys match up, and not necessarily in compatibility, but understanding who he is, who she is, understanding who you both are, and being able to discuss those things. And so when you were saying like, it brings out things on the table that you probably would have never talked about.
Yeah, I really do.
It does. And so you said, do I think it should be a must?
Yeah,
I do. I really think it's something that people should really be mindful of doing prior to getting married, because like I said, there's just some things that we still are very surface about, no matter how long you've been with somebody. You know what I mean? And sometimes we just don't know what conversations need to be had, or how to bring up said things in our childhood from a trauma standpoint, or anything.
Yeah,
right. You know, and I think those are the settings where you at least can start those conversations. They're not always pretty. We went a long time.
Yeah, we did. Now it brings up so many different topics that could lead into a fight. You know what I'm saying? Like they could lead you somewhere. But it's healthy conversation. You know what I'm saying? Especially when it got to finances and what else? Sex, everything else. Like literally.
Yeah, I know sex was definitely the worst one of them all.
Oh my God.
Pretty sure we were on the sex one for multiple sessions.
Sure was.
That's crazy.
No, I just think it's necessary for somebody's survival in marriage, because you don't know how to communicate. Thankfully, this podcast out here, like us, and like, you know, so many others that allow you to start having gateway conversations. You know what I'm saying? But back then there was none.
No, that's fact.
And there's no way to have that open dialogue, you know, about something that may be bothering you, or something that you may be experiencing that the other person may not be experiencing, and they don't even know how to deal with what you experience.
But I think it's because it's hard to, like, I think that was one of our first big lessons on communication, which obviously is really, really huge in marriage in general. I think that was one of our first big lessons on communication, is because we had to talk about what was on the paper, what was in the report. You can't hide from what they can see. You know what I'm saying? And so I'm looking at your side, I'm looking at my side, and I'm seeing how we both responded to something. And it's like you're having to discuss this stuff. And I think when you're not in those situations, or though it doesn't come up, like you said, like conversations, we had to address these things. And they weren't always easy things. There were things that you had to tell me and things that I had to tell you that were very difficult for us to both say to each other. And I think it made it easier in marriage, where it's like, this is a difficult conversation, but I've already done difficult before. I've done difficult before I married you. And so it's not that hard. It may be uncomfortable, but it's not hard for me to say what the hard things are. because of that. And that's why I think I love the title so much of saving your marriage before it starts, because it really did.
No, that's real.
It helped us be way better communicators.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, as far as like expectations before we started, I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, did I have any expectations before getting married?
I wonder,
because
I feel like all men's expectations is to finally have sex every night.
See, here's the thing: we was already living together.
This is true.
So that wake up call was already there. You know.
I am so sorry for your loss.
Oh, that wake up call was already there. You know what I'm saying? So that wasn't even an expectation. I think if there is any, they're presumptive and probably coming from an immature place. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes. Sex would have been like an immature thing because you're not going to do it every night. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what 20-year-old would think that, but obviously they would probably be thinking that.
You get some stretches in there.
You get but listen, bro, like, that ain't going to happen. You know what I'm saying?
I just feel like that's what men think about when it comes to.
I'm curious to know what are women's expectations sometimes when it comes to marriage.
I don't feel like, what's
like, maybe
funny?
not yours personally, but what do you think in general?
I know. No, now that I think about it, I feel the same way. Like, I don't know if I had any expectations. I think, and it was probably because we lived together. So it's kind of like, it's just legal now. I ain't sinning no more. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that was the best. I don't have to feel convicted.
But here's the thing, like, we have friends, like, people think like because you live together and then now get married that it's just life goes on as the same.
No, it's not the same.
And that's not the case. Like they say, like, nothing's going to change. There's no difference. Oh, yes, there is.
What changed?
Storms come. You know what I'm saying? As soon as you get married, storms. You know what I'm saying? No, like that's what, like, there's an attack immediately, almost sometimes.
That is a fact.
And that's what I mean by, like, you haven't gone through anything, so you think like, okay,
you haven't gone through anything that you can't leave.
So they think like, okay, everything's gonna be the same exact way as it was. Like, no, but you could leave then.
Fact.
You can't leave now.
No, that's true.
There's a whole thing that goes on. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's vows involved, and if anything, people don't really kind of understand the vows
until you gotta go through something.
Until you gotta understand the vows. Yeah,
no, that's true.
Until you go through the vows, you don't understand the vows.
But I feel like for us, because of the way our marriage started, and I think our focus was never on marriage. Like, I think our focus didn't become on marriage till we were 2 years married. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and
I agree.
That has been a blessing, and it also has had its difficulties as well. But I think from that perspective of thinking like there was no way we could ever focus on marriage, you know what I mean, to be able to even have an expectation, because our expectation was, let's go out and get some money, let's get this bag. And it was beneficial to our marriage from the foundation that we were building. But I think from the foundation that we were able to not build, the foundation that we missed on emotional connections and mental connections and growing, I don't feel like that. Like, the storms really, as long as you had money, like, I feel like for us, it was like, as long as we making money, we getting more money, we're growing our finances, nothing can stop anything until we realized that we were kind of drifting apart and not knowing each other anymore because we were putting business and money ahead of everything. That was the top priority in our relationship.
It started becoming like business partners instead of
roommates.
And that is something that can really, really happen. And I can see why some marriages, a lot of marriages obviously don't make it to 5 years, because you get into this routine of monotony. And well, I would say that, like, that expectation, I didn't think marriage was such routine. Like, things could be such a routine in life
and quickly,
and it can happen very, very quickly. But when you think about it, it's like you're living your life, you're going through day to day. We talk about every day at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, not
every day.
I see you on the weekend, or I see you 2 or 3 times a week because we dating and stuff like that. Like, no, you're seeing somebody's life unfold up front. So you can see that things become a routine very, very early, and sometimes it can take you into a rabbit hole, you know what I'm saying, of like, what are we doing? And some people drift apart, some people come closer together. But some people do drift apart, and they start doing other things. I don't know what it is,
I
but
feel
it's
like that's
just
why COVID was so difficult for people, though.
okay. Yeah.
Because you got to think, if we both work 9 to 5s, right? We obviously didn't have a conventional situation, but we
No,
did
no.
deal with this when I was at home at the beginning of our marriage, and you were at work every day.
Mm-hmm.
And when that transition happened, and you were home every day, it was almost like,
Yeah, you
I
gotta
don't know
find
if
somewhere
this
to go.
is what I thought this was going to be. I thought this was going to be fun. And we were
Right.
going to be doing stuff all the time and having outings, and well, this was going to be great. This is not what I thought it was going to be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I think by the time COVID comes, like for us, this was regular life.
Mm-hmm.
So for some people, it's like if you go to work 8 hours and you at, let's say, 10 hours with a commute, and I go to work 10 hours with a commute, and then we come home at a specific time, or you go to the gym, and then by the time you come home, dinner's done, and we just have these 3 to 4 hours before we decide to go to sleep, maybe 2 to 3 hours before we decide to
To
go to sleep,
connect and whatever.
to connect, and then you have like
Some people
a
don't
longer
even connect. You know what I'm saying?
right, and then you have like your longer stint over the weekend. Then it's like, all right, cool. You don't feel like you're in such a mundane routine.
Yeah.
But when you are together from wake up to go to bed, it's like,
Yeah.
my God, I'm tired of you, but I'm
You
not
wanna
tired of
miss
you.
you want to miss them, but you
And that's
don't.
probably why I call you by the time I get in the car, because I'm like, all right, you've been gone for 5 minutes. That's exactly what I needed. Thank you.
No, that's real. That's real. I think yeah, you're right. They get to those last 2 or 3 hours, and it's like, okay, we either going to connect or we drift apart, and that's what can happen. Obviously, by the numbers, most people drift apart.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
You know what I'm saying? Which is
because it's work, and that's what I think. If you're asking like from an expectation standpoint, what I didn't expect was the amount of work that goes into like both two things, into marriage, into parenthood.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't think our parents don't prepare us for that. I think we're prepared to get into relationships. We're prepared. They're telling us, and they're telling us, it's like, these are the suggestions, these are the things that you should do, but there's no preparation to what that looks like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you need to learn how to, for women, cook, clean, and take care of a house and all that stuff like that, because that's what you're going to do when you get married. And that's like the basis. It's like, bro, there's so much more to marriage than me cooking and cleaning and being able to build a house and have kids and like parenthood. Like, nobody's talking about, from a parental standpoint, at least my parents and your parents, like, my parents are marriage counselors, so this don't even make sense. But I'm like, no, there was no preparation in my life for what kids do to your marriage. Yeah. There was no preparation in my life for what marriage does to your relationship. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because at the beginning, we're just having a great time. But marriage is actual work. Yeah. Marriage is not just this fun thing that you're doing and to get out of sin if you're a believer. This is like something that I'm actually working at day in and day out to be a better person, to be a wholer person. I'm growing into a new person. I'm growing into a new person and dealing with somebody else's personality who's growing into a new person. You
know what? Like, I feel like society, and this is just a lesson I learned, over our last 5 years, or really 10. Society will have us believing that our partner is supposed to make us happy. And, just through our time together in marriage, I learned that, like, your spouse is not supposed to make you happy. Only you can make you happy.
Right.
Because it's like, I think about any guy trying to make a woman happy, bro. I'm telling you now, it's not possible. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to always be evolving. Yeah. So you kind of got to be happy within yourself and who you are and who you're becoming. And sometimes we put that on our spouse, which is unfair to do, because they don't have that capacity. I can't be everything for you. You know what I'm saying? I can't be your friend, your best friend here, your girlfriend. I can't do all the things. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we put that on our partner as an expectation before marriage. And then when we don't see that, when we feel like, you're not making me happy, like, now there's an issue, there's strife in a relationship, and that's not the case.
I just feel like, to me, I feel like podcasting has changed me, right? Where I tell my friends and my husband all the time, like, your follow-up question to a thing has to be superior, right?
Crying.
No, but you got to understand, because if I would have heard you say, like, oh, like, not you, but like, if, let's say in this instance, you were telling me, you're not making me happy.
Yeah.
My response is, what does happiness look like for you? Versus somebody else's response being what you said was like, it's not my job to make you happy. And like, although that is the truth, I would want to know, what does happiness look like for you?
Right.
Because now we can have a conversation around how happiness can be curated by yourself,
right,
and not through me. Right. I cannot make you happy. Right. I can only aid in the happiness that you receive, because I love me and I love you. I can give you love, but I can't give you happiness. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, but there's one for women. I feel like we don't want to hear you say, I can't make you happy.
Yeah.
But I feel like a better question is like, yo, what does happiness look like for you? What are you looking for?
Yeah.
Because I think marriage is a mirror. That's what I was told. Marriage is a mirror. It helps you reflect on yourself. And the only person that can help you reflect the most is the person that sees you in every state of being. You know what I'm saying? You are your most vulnerable, open, authentic version of you, hopefully,
right.
when you are with your spouse. That is the only person that has seen you on every level. If you think back to kindergarten and somebody who's in school and it's like, where were you in your chart? Oh, I had a red day, I had a yellow day, I had an orange day, I had a green day, I had a blue day, whatever. And it's like, your spouse is the only person that sees all of those versions of you and loves all those versions of you. So you're the only person that can really help me reflect on what I'm actually looking for. And I think in our 5 years, I will say that's something that you do very, very well, is help me reflect on what it is that I'm really looking for through what it is that I'm saying. Of like, all right, I'm not happy right now. And I'm not happy with, and you're like, happy with what? You know what I'm saying? Like, what aspect of life are you not happy with? Is it me? No, we're fine. Okay, well, great.
Right.
What are you not happy with? And then for me, over the course of like year 5, coming up on year 5, so going through year 4, how does this work? We've been married for 5 years. This is like our 5th year being married. Okay. So going through year 4, my lack of happiness had everything to do with career shift and identity, right? And having my identity being balled up within that career, and you helping me pinpoint that this is what you're looking at. Your actual issue and what your fulfillment is based off of one, detangling and detaching from your identity from your career, becoming a person as a person, and then doing something as a career. This person does this career, but you are not that career, right? Which was one thing. And then the other aspect of that was now helping me realize what it is that you want to do. What do you want to give the world? How do you want to do this? And in having those follow-up questions, or somebody that's willing to explore with you, now helps you see through the mirror. You know what I'm saying? And so that's what I would say, like, this past year, or being married for 5 years, like, I don't feel like we were mature enough to do that at the beginning, because our focus was never on us as people. It was just on building a foundation financially. And I think that's one of the areas that I'm grateful for in the growth standpoint, that we're now able to have more conversations that allow us both to be people and grow and develop into more better people, because we're going to continue to be different people. Everything is changing and evolving at all times.
You think you'd have had different expectations if you had got married like at 30?
Oh, for sure. I feel like at 30, I've lived a whole life.
Yeah.
Not a whole life, but
you just experienced something completely different.
For sure. I think by the time I turned 30, if I lived my actual life that I lived and then married you at 30, I would have had different expectations, just because of where I was in life. I think that is one of the benefits of getting married so young, is that there is a level of naivety that you can kind of bypass, just because you're still growing into yourself.
Right.
And so y'all get to grow together. And sometimes I think
still wet behind the ears, what they say.
Yeah, it's like sometimes I feel like we come into marriage thinking that we should already have it all together, but also the point is to grow with a person. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see that.
Did anything surprise you?
Surprise me about marriage?
Yeah, or being married to me?
Lord, say not. Being married to you. No.
Yikes.
I would say surprise. I don't know. I don't know about surprise. I think you do grow in the sense of giving each other grace and seeing each other's. You know, we've gone through depression. Individually. You know what I'm saying? We've seen that on each other. That's something that we didn't experience when we were dating.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Or
like,
know of if we were experiencing.
Or knew of because we wasn't there all the time. You know what I'm saying? To experience that. So that is surprising in itself because you don't know, like, one person can be experiencing a season and the other person might not be experiencing that season. So how do you give that person grace, or how do you be there and support that person through their time?
Right.
Which is surprising for anybody in that sense because a lot of people don't know how to deal with that. Do you think? Well, I know we've gone through a lot of this, but what do you think some of the financial lessons we've had?
Listen to Malcolm.
What?
That'd be my financial lesson.
I'm crying. Why is that? Why would you say that?
I would say because my strength in finances is making money. A secondary strength in finances is saving money. But I'm the type of saver that wants to save but also spend. Okay. So I have to have something I'm saving for me to believe in saving, if that makes sense. And what that means is, like, if there's something I know that I want, or, like, I'm driven by things. I'm driven by goals. I'm a very goal-oriented person. You know that about me. And so because of this, it's like every time I've saved money prior to you, it was based on, well, let me not say prior to you, like outside of you, because I've done some of this while dating you, but most of it was based off of a goal. Like when I would go to work for the summer, my goal for saving was, one, I got to pay tuition, and two, I need to have money when I go to school. So I need to have money to last me a whole semester. When I got out of college, it was like, I want to move to Atlanta. I'm not going to move to Atlanta with no money. I'm not going with $1 in a dream. I need to go and save this amount of money, so it's always been attached to doing something. Yeah. And even if it wasn't to spend the money for that thing, it was to make sure it was had so that thing could be done.
I got you.
So in being with you, a lot changed. You know what I mean? Because I had to adapt to another person's financial acumen or comfortability. And sometimes I saw it as you being a pain in my ass. I saw you as being a hater for all the wonderful, great things that I desire in my life. But I think the older you get is maturity. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? The older I get, I look at longevity as well. Like I look at foundation. I look at, what are the things that, especially now that we have kids, like it's not just all about what I can do in the moment. It's not all about what you have in the moment, what you can do in the moment. It's also about what this moment means for the future, even if that's from a cutback standpoint. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't a cutback person. I'm like, look, we got it. It's all good. So I would definitely say financially, it's, God gives you the right person for a reason. And I think sometimes when we differ financially, it's easy to put something off on the other person. I will say one thing I'm grateful for is how our money situation always ended up where one of us was making more money than the other.
Why is that?
Because I feel like it made our money just one from the get-go.
I was going to say that. I was going to mention that because people do like get into marriage and it's like,
your money, my money.
Yeah. Your money, my money. And right then and there, strife.
Because
immediate issues. You know what I'm saying?
Now, I'm not going to lie. Like after we were building our business and, we had finally got to our first 6-figure income and you left your job, it literally felt like you were losing your money though. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, sometimes I used to get paid from church, and like, I'm like, why is my money missing from this work that I have done? This is recently, y'all. I'll be like, well, I'm trying to figure out how you got a haircut with my church money.
That's hilarious.
But no, like, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, I don't feel like we have it in a sense of like your money pays these bills, my money pays the, and I'm grateful because we've always been in a imbalanced situation financially where like when we first moved to Atlanta, you were making all the money. And I was just trying to figure my life out.
Right.
And, you know, then we started building the business, and technically based off of my part in the business, I was making the money. You know what I mean? And your money became extra money, or the live off money. My money was the build, you know, let's build the foundation money.
Right.
Allegedly. Right. But then it just became one pot because now we building a business together. And so all the money that we had been making was just one income.
Yeah.
And I think that was really, really good for us because we never had to look at money in two different ways.
Yeah, like I said, I think that's just it creates immediate divide when you see your money is mine and your money is yours, instead of bringing it together as one
and then dispersing it to both parties.
You know what I'm saying? Because you became one when you got married. So there's no separation there.
Yeah.
So I just feel like you immediately create a divide in your relationship. And then you start having resentment, like or say one person has a different money mindset than the other person. So now you out of money. Now you're asking this person for money. And they like, where's you know what I'm saying? It just starts all these different fights.
Yeah.
That doesn't necessarily need to be there.
Yeah, and I think, and that's not to say that we don't have our own money, because we've always had our own money. It just all comes from the same place. It's like the melting pot, and then that melting pot distributes to these different places. Obviously, we have accounts for taxes, we have accounts for business, we have accounts for golly.
I'm sorry. It's late.
Yawn. But we have all these different accounts anyway. You know what I mean? So we have accounts for investing. We have accounts for, like I said, business. We have accounts for savings. And then we have our personal financial accounts. But it all comes from the original pot of money. And I think you can still achieve that thing. If you want a your money, my money type situation, I think it can still be achieved. I just think when you bring it together, it eliminates the who has to do what. Like, that's why we put together a bill account. It's like, this is the money for the bills. Not your bills, my bills. This is the money for bills. And this is our money that we spend on ourselves. This is our individual money that you can spend, do with. I can't ask you about that money. You can't ask me about this money. I think that creates, a sense of harmony. Just because it's not about like, well, how you do that? You know what I mean? Like, if you see me
teamwork and individualism at the same time.
Yeah. And so I'm definitely grateful, because I don't know if it would be that if we didn't have that imbalance. We don't know if we would have both came to the table with a different circumstance, that's our mind. That would have been the mindset. Obviously, it could have been, but you don't know.
Yeah, I feel that.
I mean, what do you feel like financially you
learned? Just that, like. I think there are seasons though, like going through different financial seasons is also lessons learned too. In marriage, like everything isn't always up, and it's not always up for either or party. You know what I'm saying? So being able to be a stable person for your person, or maybe your like we did a podcast on is it your turn? Like that is a financial lesson in itself. Like, okay. Is it my turn? Is it my turn to turn it up and make more money, or is it my turn to be in the background? You know what I'm saying? Like all these different things you go through when you've been with somebody for so long, because it's one thing to think, and people can come with this expectation to marriage, is that you're always going to be in a season where you're stable. This person's always going to be making what they're making. You know what I'm saying? But what if they lose their job? You know what I'm saying? What if they get laid off? What do you do then? And all these different things that you can go through within your marriage that you got to be ready for. You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
And it's important to have the right partner that can offer grace and understanding and weather the storm with you. You know what I'm saying? And not resent you or be spiteful and all these different things that you see can go on, because that's the number one divider within a relationship anyway.
No, for sure. I think also. From both doing the podcast but understanding you, or trying my best, because men say that we cannot understand them. There's no way that we can actually understand anything that they deal with. But in my desire to understand, really focusing on, okay, what pressures do the finances bring a man, to be able to even be your peace in a situation that you weren't dealing with, like when I got laid off, where it's like, okay, well, what new pressure does that put on him based off of a situation that happened to me? And being able to say, you like, why aren't you worried? I ain't worried. I ain't worried. Why? Because I know you gonna worry. So I can't be worried too.
You know, I'm going. It's like, it's not even like that. It's not even that. It's more so like, because I think naturally anybody will worry. You lose your job, you're not just gonna be numb. You know what I'm saying? Like, obviously there is some scarcity there, but it's more so men think about it in a holistic standpoint, in its entirety. We built a life a certain way. So we think about, we got to sustain the life that we've already built. You know what I'm saying? And I can't put us in a house one day and have us in an apartment the next. Now, if we have to, we have to. But you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not an ideal situation for a man. You know what I'm saying? So that pressure comes there when it's like, okay, I want to sustain the life that we've built.
Yeah.
And by any means necessary. And sometimes that can also be a downfall, though, because they do mean it by any means necessary. And
Malcolm means it by any means.
No. I do, but not in the sense of it'll jeopardize my well-being, your well-being, or my family's well-being. You see what I'm saying? Like, some men could get themselves ended up in jail because they're doing certain things for money that they shouldn't be doing,
right,
in order to keep a certain lifestyle.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So it's keeping a certain level-headedness about what you're trying to do.
Yes, but I'm saying that's like, but that's a part of, I feel like that's a part of my 5-year marital evaluation, is like being more mindful and more inquisitive to the mental standpoint from all things that a man is going through and thinking through every season of everything, if that makes sense. Like, what does that, we talked about tires today. Like, because I know that the cars mean more to y'all than they do to us. I'm like, all right, cool. He said, yeah, I was on my way to pick you up, and this tire just flew and hit what'd you say?
Hit the windshield. It was like a piece of a tire from I don't know where the hell it came from. Hit the windshield. I'm like, yo, what the hell?
But now it made me say, well, how are our tires? How long will they last? You know what I'm saying? Why? Because I know that's something that you've talked about. You know what I mean? And so it's like also showing concern for the things that concern you. You know what I mean? I feel like that develops the partnership, because it's not all on you. You know what I mean? But it's also being inquisitive, like I said, to the things that go on through your mind. Like, I ain't trying to be your man's, but I am trying to understand mine. You know what I mean? I am trying to get into the mind of a man in order to understand, how can I extend grace? How can I become more of your peace? How can I give you that breath of fresh air through the things that you are dealing with? You know what I mean? I can't do that if I don't know anything. I can't do that if I don't attempt to understand. You know what I mean? Because it allows me to respond to things differently based off of that. But I wanted to ask you, I have another question, but before I ask that, based off of your upbringing, right? Like, how do you feel like what you saw in marriage affected what you bring to marriage?
I don't know. That's a tough question, yo. What I saw in marriage affecting what I brought to marriage. So one thing I did see, from both sides, is my dad. He did whatever he had to do to sustain whatever lifestyle my mom wanted. And not illegally, obviously, but he did anything legally within legal bound,
right,
to sustain their lifestyle and our lifestyle. One thing my mom didn't want us to do was to grow up in the city of Baltimore. She didn't want us to do that. So he gave us a better shot by not doing so, by not having us there. For her, I've seen her work every day. You know what I'm saying? Contribute in the same capacity. As far as I'm not sure what I saw as far as love. I think they showed their love through what they did for each other, but not like through physical touch or intimacy. I didn't see really any of that. So if I had to say what effect that would have on me in marriage, it would probably be that like I struggle with the intimacy part. You know what I'm saying? I struggle with the intentionality of that. Like sometimes I can be self-aware of it, but the intentionality of like, yo, have I held my wife's hand? Have I, you know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. Like because I didn't see it much growing up, I feel like that subconsciously has brought me into my marriage like that. And we dealt with that even in our early like dating phases. Like PDA was not like a thing for me.
Malcolm was not rocking at all.
And it wasn't that I wasn't. You know what I'm saying? It just I naturally just didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? I didn't like. I ain't want to say like, no, I don't want to do that. I'm a real one. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't like that. I just naturally didn't do it. And I think just because that's not what I saw. So if I had to say, it would be that doing anything, for my family, and then also the other side though. You know, the intimacy side.
Yeah, I would say my parents were really, really like they was homies. Like they're great friends. I saw my parents' friendship, but I didn't see them resolve conflict. Like,
okay, talk about that.
And when I say resolve, it's like, well, I did see them resolve it, but it's as if it never happened, if that makes sense. Like, I don't know my parents to ever have fought. I feel like now as an adult, like I see their differences so much, I'd be like, how really compatible are y'all? This is really
That's
weird.
funny.
Like y'all, we were having me and my mom I was talking to my dad one day, my mom was out of town, and him and my sister are having this whole conversation with me about these plans he has. So I called my mom and I was like, oh, I didn't know that you was blah blah blah, and she like, what? And so then she called me back like, yeah, so I handled that whole situation you was and I'm like, oh, my bad. You know what I'm saying? I was like, so how did that go? Like what happened? And then she was just like, we had this misunderstanding. It was a little so now it's like there's more detail in regards to how the conflict was resolved. Gotcha. But I'm 30. You know what I'm saying at this point? Like, but growing up, I never saw them fight. Like, not that I'm trying to see my dad knock my mom's head off or nothing like that,
Lord.
or them yell or whatever.
Lord Jesus, Bishop.
You know, that's not what I was looking for. But it's like, sometimes it feels as if I cannot say anything because I've never seen it said. I've never seen a difficult conversation be resolved. I've never seen there be a heated fellowship or whatever you want to call it, or a misunderstanding, or, we just don't agree in this moment, and then see you come back as one. You know what I'm saying? Because it makes it feel like sometimes that you have to be silent. And not because I saw them silence, but I never saw them not that. You know what I mean? So if I'm only seeing you as a friend, if I'm only seeing y'all being all lovey-dovey and besties, and we doing this, we going to dinner, we in Jamaica, we on a cruise. Like, if that's all I'm seeing, then I expect, like, if I have a difficulty in my own relationship, in my own marriage, it almost makes you feel like, what have I done wrong?
I got you.
You know what I mean? But it's great to see you be friends, like, because obviously it
has that made you like shy away from tough conversations.
No, I love a good tough combo.
And, well, probably now, but I'm talking about like when we first got married or just into the relationship. Was that a thing?
I feel like there was a lot of things I probably was hiding.
Oh, okay.
There was a lot of things that I was hiding from you. Hiding because I'm really trying to hide them from myself and act like they don't exist. Like, case and I don't even mean that. Like, it didn't have to be anything crazy. It could be as simple as you were making more money than me and I don't want to ask you for money.
Yeah.
Because what would I like? So now I'm hiding the issue that's had, or like, you know what I mean? I might need some gas in my car. I might not have ate today, or whatever type situation, because I don't want to be seen as if, like, what if he say no? Or what if he, now I'm battling with all these assumptions of what could occur from this moment. So I think it caused me to hide a lot because it wasn't It wasn't like we were having open dialogue in my house of how do you feel, Brittany? Or what do you think about that? You know what I'm saying? It's not, that wasn't the vibes. So it's not like you're used to having open conversation around things that you don't like or things that may be difficult or things that you don't appreciate today, whatever. You know what I'm saying? So it's hard to come to your husband and be like, yo, I'm not rocking with you right now. Like, or this is bothering me, or what do you expect me to do? You know, and I think that caused a lot of rift even when we first started living together, just because we weren't having difficult conversations. Like you have these little petty arguments when you're in college and stuff like that on the phone. Right. You didn't call me today, or I didn't talk to you all day. You didn't text me, or where you been all, you know, it'll be dumb stuff, but not real life stuff. So now I'm used to petty arguments. Yeah, I'm used to, please stop squeezing the toothpaste. Please stop letting the toothpaste get crusty because you will not put the top back on. Like, these are petty arguments where it's like, I'm about to just go get my own toothpaste.
Yeah, I feel that.
You know, so I think that was the difficulty. It caused me to hide a lot because I was never able to be. And I can't say able because who knows if I was able or not. It just wasn't invited for me to now be like, you know, for like when our son is having a tantrum, it's like, hey, sit here with me. What's going on?
Yeah, what's wrong?
Are you okay?
Right.
Talk to me. Do you just want a hug? You want me to sit with you? Okay, perfect. Let's do that. Inviting an opportunity, even if it was nothing, but inviting the opportunity for you to be able to say, that I want some love. Yeah. I want a hug.
Well, I think we need to get to the comment section.
I don't think so. I had another question. That's it.
Okay. Jesus Christ.
This nigga's trying to cut me off. Shut me up.
No.
No. I have some questions like specifically to like this last year though.
Okay. Wow.
Because we just kind of talked about obviously reflecting over 5 years and reflecting, but specifically. What was your favorite memory of our last year together?
Of our last year?
It was rough. So what was your favorite memory?
Oh man, favorite memory? Jesus Christ, girl. Favorite memory of us within the last year?
Jesus Christ.
I mean, I would say. No, I would say seeing you at the Grammys. Only thing is, I wasn't there to like support you in physical form.
Yeah, you supported me plenty.
But I definitely get. So I think that was like the most memorable thing that happened within this year. Just to see that dream come to a reality, something that you had been talking about.
Yeah. That was wild.
Actually come into a reality like that. That was like manifestation at its finest. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's facts.
So it was a highlight for me at least.
I think my favorite memory of us this year or that we've experienced was, this is actually hard.
It's hard.
I didn't pre-think them.
What made you ask that question though? Like what?
Because I'm curious, like, all right, like I said, we talked about the conglomerate, but if we had to reflect on this last year, like going from
this has been a hardest year of life. So
it has definitely been hard. I would say my favorite memory.
So maybe just getting through it. That was.
I think that is. I was about to say my favorite memory might be like the toughing through because I don't think there was a way that I could do this year unmarried.
I get that.
Like marriage was a huge part of surviving. This year, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. Beauty of marriage.
It is a beautiful thing. Like the partnership aspect of the whole thing is just, it's everything. Oh, that's crazy.
What's wrong?
Oh, I thought I deleted them all. All right. So with that being said, how do you think we've grown as a couple in the last year?
I think we've grown individually, which is why we've grown as a couple. Mm-hmm. I think we are more intentional about our relationship and wanting to be better. I think we're 10 times more self-aware.
God.
You know what I'm saying? Just of our wants, desires, what makes us tick, what don't, what motivates us, what doesn't. You know what I'm saying? I think we're
Mm-hmm.
just more self-aware as individuals. I think we took this year to work on our individualism because we got together so young. It's very hard to become your own person in a sense.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you've been together for 10 years since 20. How do you not wrap your identity within somebody else if you've been with them that long?
Yeah, people don't even know who
In
we
your
are
most
separately.
within your most impressionable years, how do you form your own identity as a person?
Right.
And I think we made it we made it a I don't know what the word is, but
I feel like polite is the word, but I don't know what that means all the way.
nah, I don't know. Ooh, that's definitely not. Nah, I just think we've made it a goal to
Priority.
We made a priority
Mm-hmm.
to figure out who we are as people,
Mm-hmm.
and then who we can be together for each other, who we can be as parents. You know what I'm saying? Like all these different things. So that's what I would think.
I
That's
definitely think it bred a new version of us becoming individualized, because there were so many hardships that I feel like we experienced this year individually.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the individual things that we experienced, like they made our marriage stronger, because it's like, who can I run to and who's going to see me? Like, who can I cry? You know, there was a period of time I remember this year where it was like I wouldn't even answer my phone. Like, I didn't want people to talk to me. I didn't want to talk, you know what I'm saying? Because I just didn't feel like myself. And you would come in the room and be like, are you good? Like, what's up? And I would burst into tears every time. Like, I'm about to cry now, but I'm pregnant this time, and I'm gonna blame pregnancy for everything always.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it was like you were the only person that I always felt like I could unload everything that was mentally challenging to me,
Mm-hmm.
or emotionally challenging, or where I saw myself, or who I wanted to be, or who I felt like I wasn't, and all that kind of stuff like that. And being able to have that person that can see that and still be like, you're okay.
Right.
And all of this is actually okay. That was comforting. And I think being able to go through individual challenges this year, and like, how do you feel like we weathered those how do you feel like our marriage helped us weather those individual storms?
I think our maturity in marriage has allowed us to weather the storms.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've given each other grace for one. We've given ourselves grace.
For sure.
Which is hard because we're both like goal-oriented people.
Go-getters.
You know what I'm saying? So we had to give ourselves grace for this year. And I think that's kind of helped us, weather some of the storms. And I just think we're smart, we're resilient, we very innovative. So, we can wiggle out anything.
That is true. I feel like as long as you're with me, I can literally do anything in any season, in any capacity, with any given circumstance. As long as it's with you, or you're there, or you are who I can lean on in that moment, there's nothing that I don't have the capacity to withstand or to do. Right. My last question. Well, almost last. I'm saying interview. I just didn't give you the questions so that you also would be probably asking them back if you had them to.
Maybe, I don't know.
But what do you feel like is something that we started? I want to see if your answer is the same as mine. That's really why. What is something that we started this last year of our marriage that you feel like had the greatest impact on this year? Ooh. Yawn.
I'm so sorry. It's definitely late.
It's really not that late.
Hey.
It's literally not even 10 o'clock.
Listen, at 30, 31, past 9 is late.
It is not even 10 o'clock. This nigga has yawned like 5 times.
Oh, man. My eyes are watering. Wait, what was the question again?
I knew you forgot. I said, what is something that you feel
like? These are I don't think anybody media trained can answer these fucking questions.
Well, that's the point. You're not supposed to be media trained.
No, I'm saying
Because I
Even people
want your
that's media trained
genuine
can't
answer. I
answer
don't want to
this
give
because
you.
these
It's
are
not
very
a
deep questions.
this. So the problem is that it's 9:00 and these are deep. We talked about this in the last episode. I'm saying though. So the question was, what do you feel like we implemented? Like, what do you think that we started this year of our marriage that had its greatest impact on it?
Did we started? I'm trying to really remember. I mean, I would say more so check-ins.
Okay.
Like, because we had a lot of mental health stuff going throughout this year. So,
I was pregnant though.
yeah, but we needed the mental check. We needed the check-ins to be able to unload, like, and really talk through things. I think that got us through a lot of things this year
Mm.
and gave us a lot of understanding about each other or what each other's journey is. You know what I'm saying? Especially me unloading a lot of stuff on you of how I've been feeling and what I'm thinking.
My God.
You know what I'm saying? It's been a lot.
I appreciate it though.
I don't know if we implemented that, but we did that more this year than we ever have.
I do. Agree. That's not what I thought you would say though.
What did you think I was saying?
Well,
I'm curious.
not
Because
what I
what did
thought.
we actually like?
Church.
That's true.
Never have we
Now, here's the
ever
thing. You're right.
attended church to attend church
Here's the thing. You're right. Implementing going to church regularly
as a family.
has definitely changed a lot of things in our marriage, for sure.
Because we have been to church a long time. We just never went because we wanted to.
Right.
And
we didn't have a church home until now this year.
Yeah, I mean, but even having a church home and just the intricacies of developing the relationship, our relationship with Christ, rekindling, developing, but also like our relationship together, you know, being able to go through services or sermons and studying and all that kind of stuff like that, and being able to now discuss that as a collective of how it reflects on us and how we now see these things and how it's impacted our growth as people, our growth in marriage. I think that is the biggest thing that has changed that has elevated our marriage.
Yeah, I could agree. Yeah, scratch what I said the last time.
No, I agree with check-ins though.
Yeah, I feel that, but fuck that.
Jesus Christ, right? From church, right?
Oh, yeah. Jesus knows I'm a gangster, though. You know what I'm saying?
Now Jesus knows I'm a gangster. That's crazy. Forgive him, Lord. He knows what
you
he
can
does.
edit that out. That's cool.
No, I'm not.
Please do.
No, let them see you for your whole glory, sir.
That's crazy.
No. I still agree with check-ins though. Like I think that is true. Like I think we've checked in this year more than we ever have, and we've been more aware of where both of us were throughout it all. Mm-hmm. Because that's why the sermons hit so hard. The sermons hit so hard because we're pretty sure that our pastor has our house tapped. Because it's like it'll be one of them check-in nights, and then we go to church on Sunday, and that's literally it'll say one specific word that was said on this in this conversation. But yeah,
you got anything else, Miss Interviewer?
I am so sorry that I want to hear about your thoughts.
Because my God.
My bad.
She came here to interview tonight.
Bro, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to give a full episode. That's all.
Mean?
Just trying to give a full episode. All right, that's it. What did you learn about me in this last year?
Oh my God, these are so deep.
Oh, y'all see how he treat me?
What did I learn about you?
He huffing and puffing, all kinds of stuff. You're just giving me no energy tonight.
What did I learn about?
Tired energy.
What did I learn about Brittany this year?
Mm-hmm.
I learned that you wasn't going to be fully happy until you had something to strive for. I learned that like what makes you is having something that you can push for that is not based upon like obviously family life, but like something that is goal oriented that allows you to have a clear path to reaching whatever goals that you have set out for your life individually. You know what I'm saying? So I think once you found that, you know what I'm saying, you became a lot more joyful.
I became alive again.
Not alive again. Shameless blood, crying.
I definitely was.
Alive.
You are very
Come on,
petty,
alive
Peter.
juice. Huh?
Oh my God, you are petty, Peter.
I'm just saying that was like a good segue. But
for what?
if that person, if somebody, if we were selling that,
move
you know what I'm
on.
saying? Yeah. No, I just think like you needed something that you could strive for that was outside of us.
Mm. I definitely agree with that 1,000%.
See, I know my top spiritual gift is discernment, y'all. We're gonna talk about that probably.
He's so pleased that was his top spiritual gift.
Spot on.
I think what I learned about you the most this year is that you carry a lot, and with all that you carry, you still show up you show up.
Mm-hmm.
You're the most consistent person, I think, in most people's lives that you're in. But despite whatever you are always carrying, you are always willing to show up in the full capacity that you need to for people. And I think that's an incredible trait because a lot of people deal with the inconsistencies in their lives. And I think your ability to show up is a huge. It's huge. And I realized how much you show up when I started to ask more questions about what you were thinking and what you were experiencing and all that basically was on your plate and on your shoulders. Mm-hmm. And still realizing that through all of that, you were still being present and making sure that you showed up for the people that you love and that you cared for. And I don't take it for granted at all. I don't. I appreciate
Why did you try to say what I was going to say?
How was I saying what you were going to say? I do. See, this is why we can't have a serious moment or a deep moment. He's about to make me cry.
What? Okay. That is a wrap for today.
Oh, you don't want to do that?
Done with this interview. What they do when you walk out of the interview?
You about to offset me? What did I do to you? You don't want me to appreciate you?
No, I do. I appreciate that. I really do.
I appreciate you. It's not easy being you. So for all that you do for our family and who you are, I see you, black man.
Crying.
I see you, black man, and I appreciate you. I love you.
I love you too.
I'm glad you're mine. I say that. In 5 years, 10 years, I will say, I'm glad you're mine. He was a good pickup. Y'all missed out.
Crying.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
This has been another episode of the Solar Stuff. Malcolm is ready to go to bed, y'all. It's still not 10 o'clock. He's tired.
I'm not ready to go to bed, but I am winding down.
Yeah, this is his weary look, if you didn't know, which is crazy because we've always shot at night.
I know. I've always hated it. I really enjoy the midday ones.
Okay, got it. So we're gonna make sure. I've been trying to take a nap, so Malcolm wants to shoot during nap time.
And I don't take naps. So this is why at nighttime I'm weary.
Slipping away.
I'm good now.
This has been another episode of the So Let's Talk About It podcast. I am your co-host, Brittany.
And I'm Malcolm.
And you can follow me at Brittany Danelle.
You can follow me at Malcolm_2_Garrison.
And don't forget to follow the show at So Let's Talk About It Pod on all platforms. Make sure if you're listening on Apple Podcasts, you follow the show, you subscribe, you rate and you review. If you're listening on Spotify, we want to hear what you thought about this episode. What are your thoughts? How long have you been married? And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you give us a thumbs up. Let YouTube know that you love what we got going on. And we want to hear from you. Or how long have you been married? Are you thinking about getting married? What did you learn about our marriage journey? And all the things, right? And we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Peace.
Love y'all.